Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Sean's Horror Corner. Thank you so much for watching, as always. And today, super excited to have my friend Brendan from Our Life in Horror back with me. Brendan, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I am the one half of Our Life in Horror. My wife was supposed to be a part of this one, but she is swamped. So she's going to be taking this one off.
Yeah, she's getting ready for the big award show. So, yeah, she's got a lot going on right now.
Yeah, she does. She does. She's a trooper, though. She's putting it all together, I tell you.
I just hope that she's able to get back with us on these somewhere between now and 6. I know there's a lot coming up that we're going to be talking about these, so hopefully she can chime back in at some point.
Yeah, she might get in near the end of the franchise, but hopefully she gets in.
And this one, I probably should have told you before we start recording. So this episode is actually coming out Wednesday, the 7th. So just a couple of days from us recording it now. You want to take a minute and promote your channel and talk about anything that you guys have coming up?
Yeah, so of course, like I said, I am one half of Our Life in Horror. My partner's name is Sam, and we do movie reviews. We do physical media. I'm trying to think of what else we got going on. We were doing an award show February as well. I think on Wednesday, actually, the day this drops, we're doing. If Sam is feeling up to it still, we're doing a non-horror movie physical media collection count.
Oh, well, okay.
So we're going to be going through Sam's movies specifically. So the rom-coms, the Christmas movies, the comedies. Those are all going to be thrown out there. And I don't know, it's going to be interesting. And I think Friday we're going to go see Primate. So I would expect a review of that coming up in the weekend.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm curious what you think about that one. I thought about going to see it this weekend as well. A lot of times I don't make the movies on Friday just because by the time I get off work and get home, it's kind of pushing it a little bit. I thought about trying to go see it Saturday, but the one football team that I really follow, the Chicago Bears, made the playoffs, and their first playoff game is Saturday night. So I'm like, I'm probably going to be watching football Saturday night then.
Yeah, who are they playing?
Green Bay of all teams, which
Well,
that's that's probably Chicago's biggest rival is Green Bay. It's who they've always had as their biggest rival, and to get them in the first round of the playoffs is going to be interesting. So yeah,
I got a buddy who loves Green Bay, but I hope your team wins.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. You have to say that on here, right? You can tell him the same thing later, but you have to say that
Oh
on
no, I tell him his team sucks all the time. I'm a Steelers guy, so
Okay.
we got Rodgers.
Yeah, who used to play for Green Bay and tore my Bears up. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. How did I know this is not a sports podcast, but I was watching the Steelers game last night when I was going to bed, and like right, it gets down to the stretch, and our internet went out for a minute, and I like by the time it kicked back on, the game was over. So who won the game last night?
you know what? I don't follow that closely. I'll catch
Okay,
highlight reels. I follow
gotcha.
them on Facebook too, so like
Okay,
I'll usually see the stats the next day, and I haven't seen any Steelers facts. I know they did clinch the playoffs though in the wild card, so
so they must have won. Yeah, it was. I think last night they were playing Baltimore, and the winner was going to get in the playoffs, and the loser wasn't, from what my understanding was. And so that's kind of why I was paying attention to it. And it was, yeah, close game with just a couple of minutes to go, and I had actually got kind of invested, and then yeah, internet went out for a minute, and I was like, "What the hell?"
yeah, they always clinch the
But
playoffs, and then nothing happened. They haven't been good since like 010.
yeah, man, this is the first. I'm just excited because it's the first time my Bears have been in the playoffs in quite a while. They've been horrible for a bit. So anyway, yeah, we won't bore everybody with the sports talk here, but I was just curious there for a minute. All right, so Brendan and I are continuing on with the Scream franchise today. We're going to be talking about Scream 2 from 1997. We were talking before we started recording. We were both big fans of the first one. I gave it a 10 out of 10, my favorite movie ever. You said you think you gave it like a 9.5.
Yeah, I think I gave it 9.5, and I believe Sam gave it a 10.
Okay.
A 10.
Okay. Very cool. So, yeah, I'm very curious to see what your take on this one is and see if it competes with the original or where you stand on that. So, I'll mention a few things first here, real quick. Tagline for the film: someone has taken their love of sequels one step too far. Brief synopsis: 2 years after the Woodsboro murders, Sidney Prescott is now going to college or trying to commit to college life. But someone donning the Ghostface costume begins a new string of killings. Film was released December 12th of 1997. Directed by Wes Craven, written by Kevin Williamson, produced by Wes Craven, Kathy Conrad, and Marianne Maddalena. Cinematography done by Peter Deming, edited by Patrick Lussier, music by Marco Beltrami, distributed by Dimension Films. 120-minute runtime, budget of $24 million, and $172.4 million at the box office. So it did very well. Let me ask you a question there real quick. When I was making my notes and I saw the runtime for this movie was 120 minutes, that kind of blew my mind. I did not realize this film was that long. It does not seem like a 2-hour movie to me. What do you think?
I think most Scream movies are 2 hours, aren't they? So like Sam before we started the movie was like, how long is this movie? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, do you have any idea? I'm like, probably 2 hours. I'm like, I feel like most of them average from an hour 45 to 2 hours. And I just threw out 2 hours and it was like,
yeah, you're
right
spot
on the dot. Yeah.
I think you're probably right. I think when I got to looking in a little bit after that, they do seem to run close to 2 hours, but I feel like, as a whole, this franchise is paced pretty well, so I don't ever feel the runtime on most of these. There's one coming up that I might feel it on. I'm trying to remember, but for the most part, I don't really feel the runtime on these too bad. I don't know what your thoughts are.
No, I agree. Like I think all Wes Craven films are paced fairly well. He just kind of understands how to pace a movie. So I don't think this movie moves as fast as the first film. I think that first film really moves quickly. This one, I don't think it drags at all, but I don't think it's quite as quickly paced as that first film.
I agree. Yeah, I think I'm with you there. Let's talk for a minute about cinematography, score, story. That's kind of what I always like to start off with. Give me your thoughts on those topics.
So cinematography, it looks good. I can't say there's too many, like, there's good sequences, like long take shots, of course, going on throughout the movie. There's a lot of movement throughout the house or the sorority house with Cece. Right. There's some good sequences through there. But it feels like a Scream movie. Yeah. You know, it's still got that Wes Craven flair to it, but there's no like, there's nothing that stands out. Like in the first movie when Drew Barrymore's character is about to eat it, and you get that kind of, I don't know, it goes up to the eyeball, right? In the first movie, like that was a really distinct and like good looking shot. This one, I can't really recall anything that stands out to that kind of nature.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I agree with you. The cinematography is fine. There's nothing bad about it. There's not really anything like that first one that stands out. I think they try to do that a little bit with Jada Pinkett's character's kill in the beginning, and we'll get into that here in a little bit, but it doesn't have the same effect. I do like, though, the way some of the things were shot. I like the scene there in the theater where Ghostface is kind of chasing Gale through some of the areas there of the theater, trying to get, to her. I think that looks pretty good. But yeah, overall, I think it's fine. The score, I also think I don't think it stands out to me. I liked the score in the first one. This one, it's got some moments where I think it's really good, but it's a lot of the same score, honestly. I mean, there's a few different songs, but the score is mostly the same. But I do like the story. I like the way this is all put together. So, yeah, do you have anything about score or story that you wanted to mention, or just kind of deserve it?
The Scream score is so tough because it feels it feels like it doesn't try. So okay. you of course got the classic like theme, and then you notice every character's theme. So like when Dewey's introduced, you get Dewey's theme, which is so iconic and memorable. Right. And it's the same with like Gale and Nev Campbell and Randy. Yeah. But like after this, I feel like it's just the same score like for every movie, because it's all you're getting is like those big iconic score sequences are for the returning characters.
Right.
And there's no real themes for anybody else after that. Like, like Dewey's theme is so good, but it's so used throughout every movie because they just won't let these characters die.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't think this is one of my favorite scores of all time. I do like it, but the Scream score is just kind of meh for me personally.
I completely understand that. I really liked it in the first film. In this film, it does drop off for me some because, like you said, it's the exact same thing. There's one particular moment, and again, it's the moment where we think Dewey's character has been killed, and Gale, finds him there. That I think it fits really well. But again, I heard it in the first film also, so I 100% get what you're saying. It's the same thing, so it's not quite as big a deal. Cast for the film, there's several names here I want to mention, even a couple that don't have huge parts, but of course we've got returning Nev Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Jamie Kennedy. We also have Laurie Metcalf, Jerry O'Connell, Timothy Oliphant, I believe is how you say it, Liev Schreiber. We get appearances from Jada Pinkett in this. Sarah Michelle Gellar has a role in this. Give me your thoughts on cast and characters for Scream 2.
I think the cast is all really good. Like, I think Nev Campbell literally owns Sidney Prescott. Like, you can't get anybody else. Same with Courtney Cox as Gale Weathers. Like, they just embody those characters so well.
Yeah.
Even Liev Schreiber as, or I don't know how to say it. Cotton Weary. Yeah. I think he's so good at being this red herring in this film. I do like the flip-flop between them.
Yeah.
Again, the one thing that Sam mentioned, I kind of got some notes from her before we started because I do have a score from her as well.
Oh, perfect.
But yeah, I got some little insider facts on Sam's thoughts about this. She would want Sarah Michelle Gellar to be in this movie more. I agree. Besides the fact that I think she acts really well in this movie, but besides the fact that she was huge with Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
right
at this point, and coming off of probably I Know What You Did Last Summer,
yes,
I feel like she was an underutilized side character. She only has one scene, and then her chase scene, and then that's it.
Yeah,
as Randy does great, of course. I think I really like whatever his name is. I can't even. Jamie Kennedy, yeah. I don't like him in real life, but I was like, dude, what happened to you? Like, you were a decently good looking guy back then too. You looked a little more built in this movie as well. I was like, dude's repping it. Timothy Oliphant, I champion for this movie. I love Timothy Oliphant. I love him in everything he does, but this, when you let Timothy Oliphant go wild, this is what I fucking love. Okay. But again, he's not really in the movie too much. I feel like in the first movie, they kept the group small enough where you got invested in each character. Yeah. Whereas in this movie, I feel like they keep the old characters while introducing too many side characters and without giving them enough screen time.
Yeah, I agree with you.
The boyfriend probably had the most screen time, and I think I think he's good too with something O'Connell, right?
Yeah, Jerry, I believe Jerry O'Connell.
Mm-hmm. He's in probably one of the most wasted scenes in the movie, which I'm sure we'll get to because it's random. But he's really good in it too, and I like that they do set him up wearing the same Have you heard of the plaid shirt theory?
You know what? I had forgot about it until you said that. I think I have heard that actually, but refresh my memory.
So it states that every killer in the Scream franchise is wearing plaid.
Okay.
Which is wrong for this movie because it doesn't turn out that way. So then I was kind of looking it up because I was curious, but then it goes to blue. Every Scream killer wears blue throughout the movie, and Timothy Oliphant does wear blue throughout the whole movie.
Very cool.
So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Sorry, spoilers if you haven't seen this 30-year-old movie.
Yeah, I'm not worried about spoilers. I think everybody's seen this by now.
But yeah, I think Sam felt the same way too about the characters and there being just not enough of new, fresh characters. She said that Tatum wasn't in it, so she was disappointed in that kind of aspect. And she also didn't like the killers as much as she did with Billy and Stu.
Okay. I can see that, and I'll touch base on that here a little later on. But yeah, I think the cast is exceptional. I think everybody does a really good job. When I was watching this again, because I've seen this movie multiple times, but I watched it again a couple of days ago to get ready for this, and I had to kind of go back and rethink things because sometimes when you watch a movie like this and you already know what's going to happen later on in the franchise, it kind of affects your opinion of this movie a little bit, you know. And I didn't want it to do that, so I was trying to just be like, yeah, but you don't know that's coming right now. You don't know that's coming. Like blocking it out so I could keep this because there are a few characters that later on in the franchise I'm not as big a fan of as I am currently at this point in the franchise. So I'm just trying to remember at this point everything was still fine. But I think the actors all do a great job. I agree with Sam and you 100%. I would love to have seen Sarah Michelle Gellar in the movie more. One of the things that I saw as far as any production notes was that she didn't even read the script. She had just finished I Know What You Did Last Summer, and that's why they reached out to her to be in this, because between Buffy and I Know What You Did Last Summer, she was, you know, starting to become a big star, and they offered it to her, and she was like, yeah, she didn't even read the script or really know what was happening with this, and decided to do it. But I do wish they would have, I would have liked to have seen her character more, maybe instead of the Hallie character. Nothing against the Hallie character, but I just didn't think Sydney's roommate really was that big a deal in this film. Not that the actress was bad, but I just didn't really think the character did much. So maybe something different could have been done there. I don't know. But yeah, I would like to have seen Sarah Michelle Gellar more. I think everybody does a good job. I think Timothy Olyphant is good, but there is something I want to talk about when we get a little bit later on that I'm curious to see what your take is there. So just a few production notes real quick, and we'll get into the plot. Kevin Williamson provided a 5-page outline for Scream 2 when he was still auctioning Scream, hoping to get a franchise out of this. Dimension Films moved forward with it while Scream was still in theaters. They began working on Scream 2 immediately. However, plot info was leaked by one of the extras on set, and that included the killers. And so the script had to be entirely rewritten. They ended up rewriting it multiple times. The original plot had 4 killers. I did not know this. Now, I knew that there had been some plot leaks and they had to do some rewrites. And apparently they were even not giving the script to certain actors till like the day of scenes because they didn't want anything else being leaked. But the original first draft had 4 killers instead of 2. We still had Mrs. Loomis. Cotton was also going to be one of the killers. The character of Hallie, Sydney's roommate, was going to be a killer, and Derek, the boyfriend, was going to be a killer. I'm curious how that would have played out, but I think that would have been too much. I think I'm glad they didn't go that route. Any thoughts from you? It's interesting, but yeah.
It is interesting. I don't think that's a bad play. To be honest with you, I forgot the roommate even existed until you brought her up. So, so thank you for reminding me that she was an integral part of this movie. But I think that would have made her even like stand out even more in this movie. So like I don't think that was a bad idea. Oh man, 4 killers, because we do start to see that later on in the franchise. And I don't think it's a bad idea there. I would have liked to have seen how they gave each killer a motive,
right?
I guess, with that original script, because of course Mrs. Loomis, her motive is quite clear, but like how did she convince these 3 other people to join her? I think that's a very interesting thing that they could have done with this movie. So I kind of wish they would have made that movie, and that makes sense on why maybe they gave the boyfriend the blue plaid shirt to wear.
Yeah, I think Cotton could be I think I could see that, you know, if he was upset about what happened in the first film and spending the time in jail, maybe Mrs. Loomis would have been able to get to him. But yeah, I would like to, I mean, how they would have got the others in as well. It's interesting. I just wonder, I don't know. Part of me wonders if it would have been too much, and then what would have happened with the franchise from there? Would we have had to continue to have that many killers? Could we have trimmed it back down? Yeah, I'm curious what would have happened with the franchise moving forward if they would have had 4 in this movie, but it would have still been very interesting. Extra security was hired. Performers, like I said, were given script much later than usual, including the 2 killers in the film. They were not given the final script until the day of filming. So they didn't actually, from the way I was reading this, they didn't realize they were the killers until the final day of the filming those scenes. So kind of interesting there as well. Tobey Maguire was offered the role of Mickey, but turned it down, and that's when Timothy Olyphant got it. I think I'm glad that happened. I'm glad he turned it down. I don't think that would have worked.
That would have been so different. It would have been. It wouldn't have been so. It would have been crazy, but it would have been hard to watch. Like Tobey Maguire's good at playing crazy, but it's a lot different of a crazy. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen the movie Brothers.
I have, yeah.
His snap out scene in that is fucking terrifying, but it's a different level of terrifying. You know, Timothy Olyphant's at least fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Rebecca Gayheart, who plays one of the sorority sisters that keeps following Sydney around, had actually auditioned for the role of Tatum in Scream 1, and then she had auditioned for multiple roles in Scream 2 before finally getting cast as one of the sorority sisters. So I don't know, I kind of felt bad for her. She just kept trying, and they finally gave her kind of this little bitty shit part, but I guess at least she got in.
Is that Brenda from
Urban Legend? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I guess I kind of do know what happened to her. I saw her, she popped up in a few horror movies back during this time frame and then seemed to kind of vanish. But from my understanding, she had some personal issues she was like in a car wreck where a child got killed. And she had some rough stuff happen. So yeah. All right, let's get into the walkthrough and start talking about this one a little bit. Opening scene, we get two college students, Maureen and Phil, attending a premiere of the Stab movie. We get their kills. Phil gets killed in the bathroom, and then Maureen gets killed out actually in the theater. Everybody thinking it's just like a publicity stunt. Give me your thoughts on these opening kills and the way this movie starts off.
I think it's incredibly strong. I enjoy both actors. I think Jada Pinkett Smith is really good in this role for the most part. Omar Epps is also fantastic. I think it really steps up for this Ghostface isn't afraid, and he's going to take every opportunity that he can. Yeah. And even in public, we see that a few times within this movie. A few public kills, especially in large crowds of people or in the daylight, which didn't happen too often in the first film. I think there is one sequence where it does happen with the principal. I think that was probably during the day, but
but it's still more like up in the classrooms or in his office rather than out in front of everybody. So
so it's pretty graphic, I think, and he's hidden in a crowd of people. He can disappear very easily. He's very smart, clever. I think it's really setting up a terrifying new threat for Sydney and the gang. I do want to just kind of veer off for a second, though. I want a Stab movie, 45-minute movie with all these actors so badly. Like, looking at Heather Graham, who came in to play Casey. You got Luke Wilson to play Billy.
Right.
I want it. I want it real bad.
I'm kind of surprised we haven't got it, to be completely honest with you. Or even some, I don't know, even some fan-made Stab movie. It wouldn't surprise me a little bit. But yeah, I think it'd be fun to see one too. I'm really surprised it hadn't happened, honestly, at this point. But I agree with you. I like this opening as well. And my notes that I wrote down for this was that Ghostface is more ruthless than in the first. I think we're both kind of seeing the same thing. I like the opening. I really like Omar Epps' character Phil. I like his kill there in the bathroom where he gets stabbed through the stall door, like in the ear or something. I think it looks brutal. It looks rough.
It does, but what a lucky shot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, how he did it, I don't know, but it makes me cringe every time. I'm just like, fuck, that would hurt. So yeah, I think it's a good opening. It's a good kill, or two good kills, really. I think they probably tried to go big to somewhat compare to what they did in the original. And, I don't think it compares to that. It's nowhere near as good as Drew Barrymore's kill in the first film, but I do think this is a pretty good start. I like the way it gets going.
I do agree.
Two instead of one.
Yeah. How do you up the first one? I mean, like you had such a huge star. I think the only time they successfully up the cold open, I think the start of it was in 4. I think 4 has a really cool, clever way of opening the film.
Yeah.
but like I feel like the next two movies were like it. I don't know if Jada Pinkett Smith was huge at this time or not. What, late 90s? I don't know if she was really that big or not.
Not as big as Drew Barrymore, I'm sure. I mean, I think people knew who she was, and Omar Epps, again, I mean, you would have to have seen, he's in some good movies, but I don't think they're the kind of movies that everybody was watching or seeing. So, but he's a good actor. He was very talented. I think you mentioned 4. I do like the way 4 opens as well, and not to get like too far ahead. I think they tried that. Is it 6 where it's Samara Weaving that gets killed in the beginning?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that kill is anywhere near as good as Drew Barrymore's kill, but that's about the closest they've come to having a big star die like that in the beginning, in my opinion.
Yep, I totally agree.
We then cut to Sydney. She's in college now. She's getting some prank phone calls. It's kind of funny that she uses caller ID there to mess the guy up. We see Cotton on TV talking a little bit. We meet Sydney's roommate, Hallie. Sydney sees these news of the killings that happened at the theater, and reporters are trying to swamp her. We get to see Randy at film class. We also meet Mickey and Cece and a few other characters. And then, of course, Sydney takes us to talk to Randy and talk to him a little bit. We meet Derek, her new boyfriend. Here's something I wanted to ask you about, but I'll kind of let you share with me your thoughts on this next set of scenes as we're just kind of really getting the setup. But then I want to talk about Randy's character. So give me your thoughts here on the way everything is being set up, and then I want to talk about Randy.
Okay. I think it's a decently it shows that, Sydney has kind of figured out a way to ID the calls. So she's learning, she's adapting to her environment, which is a good call. And of course, the film class, man, makes me wish I went to post-secondary school for film class, because of course,
so much fun.
Yeah, of course the topic is sequels and what's the better sequel, and it takes everybody like 10 minutes to figure out that The Godfather Part 2 is one of the better sequels of all time. And it's really funny to me because they like bring it up later. I don't know when The Godfather Part 3 came out, but like everybody's like, oh yeah, The Godfather Part 2. But like The Godfather Part 3 was there, and Randy dismisses Timothy Olyphant's character when he says Empire Strikes Back is a part of a trilogy, not just a sequel. So I'm like, well, so's The Godfather Part 2. That's also part of the trilogy.
And I don't know when that came out, so that's a good point. I feel like a lot of these movies they talked about became more than just sequels. But yeah, that's a fun scene. I like it as well. Now you got me curious. I wonder when Godfather 3 did come out, but that is an interesting point. I didn't even catch that. So
I think it also sets up the audience too to maybe set their expectations lower, because they're like, Randy's like, by definition, they're inferior to the original. Yeah. So I think it might subconsciously be like, don't expect the first movie. We're going to try our best, but it's not going to be that good.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. And that might be a lot of it there. So I mentioned I want to talk about Randy because I know there's, Scream has a huge following, but one of the favorite characters amongst people that love the Scream franchise is Randy. And a lot of people hate that he gets killed in this film. I am not a fan of Randy. Primarily, and it's not, I think Jamie Kennedy does a good job. I liked Randy in the first film. I don't like Randy in this film. To me, he seems, I don't know. He's just like I think they're trying too hard in this one to make him the comic relief part. It works in the first one, but in this one, even in this scene here in the classroom, he does an impression from every movie they talk about. Like every movie they mention, he has to do an impression. And then when he walks out and Sydney's trying to follow him and talk to him, it's almost like he's got this cool little strut walk that he's doing, and he's talking with a different accent. And I'm just like, this guy's not funny anymore. I may be the only one on the planet that doesn't like Randy. Tell me what you think about Randy.
I think he's a little more douchier in this movie, but then again, like he's lived through hell. He's clearly followed his the girl of his dreams here to school. So, I think he can make somebody pretty conceited eventually after a while. He might be holding out for Sydney too. We don't know if has any other romantic pursuits. And then here comes Derek, you know,
Yeah.
just kind of, and they just like full on PDA right in front of him, no problem. And he's clearly upset.
Right.
So do I agree? I think, you know, the governor, you know, the
Yeah.
English accent that he does was a little much, as well as the Godfather accent. I was just like, okay, that's a little much. But yeah, I don't mind like a couple of them. But yeah, it did seem like he was sitting on his high horse a little bit in this film. And again, he took off like after this movie, right? Like he was really big. So I kind of get it. He's trying really hard to nail these comedic moments in this horror film so that he can pursue a leading role comedy movies, right? Which he ended up getting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually think that his death is kind of justified in this movie. As much as I don't like to say that, because I do like Randy as like a movie buff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think out of everybody, he would be the person that needed to go to make an emotional impact, because we don't really get that from the rest of the franchise until you know, Five Cream.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree with you, and I did think it was good, not just because I didn't like him in the film, but I think he's the best character that they could have killed off like that from the original group. But yeah, I had to voice that because I know everybody loves Randy. And it never really stood out to me how much he bothers me in this movie until I watched it the other day. And I'm just like, wow, I don't like Randy in this movie. So yeah, I just wonder if maybe I really am the only one that has that issue. Gail arrives. We see that, you know, Gail really hasn't changed too much. She's still after the story. We also meet this Debbie Salt character. Dewey comes back into play. We get to see Dewey and Sydney have some interaction. And then we get to see Gail try to approach Sydney and bringing Cotton with her. So Gail's still kind of a bitch in this movie. You know, she had those moments in the first one, and then you kind of thought maybe towards the end she came around when she helped save the day. And at one point, you know, Sydney even says that to Randy, like, be kind, she saved our lives. But you can tell Gail hasn't really changed too much here. We can see that Cotton is definitely wanting attention. And then we get some more interaction between Dewey and Gail. And Dewey's really upset about the way Gail described him in her book. What are your thoughts on the Dewey-Gail relationship here, as well as Cotton and just some of the other things that are going on in this setup?
The Dewey-Gail relationship.
Yeah.
So the first movie relationship is what you're describing. Again, I see. Okay. Yeah, I kind of hate that they continue to do this, and I don't remember exactly how they're portrayed in the next film. So I'm kind of curious to see how that goes. Same with Scream 4. I feel like they're a couple in Scream 4, I think. Like, they're full on a couple in Scream 4, if I'm remembering
I think you're
correctly.
right. I feel like 3, it continues like it's going on here, but I think you're right. I think by Scream 4, they're actually a couple.
Yeah, like, just, it's fine if you want to do it for this one, but for Scream 3, like, maybe not. Because this is, like, still, like, they're young, they're still trying to figure out their careers, you know, so there could be some separation and then coming back for the third film, which is fine, I guess. But it'd be cool if, you know, they actually developed a full relationship for the next film, and then maybe we continue that. But like, yeah, this is, I actually really like Officer Dewey in this movie. I don't like the gimp thing he's got going on.
It's a little awkward.
The hand. It's a little. I think it's a little much.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's not continued.
Right. It goes away.
Yeah, it's just for this movie, and then it's totally gone from the franchise. So it's clearly, unless the stabs he gets at the end of this movie fixes his nerve damage, which I don't think is possible. But
yeah,
I definitely like Courtney Cox in this movie. She's definitely got it going on, in my opinion. The kind of, you know, the bow cut or whatever it is with the red streaks. She's definitely got it going on. But yeah, she's still herself in this movie until like kind of like the midway point.
Right.
She tries to ambush Sydney for a second time, and this time let's bring in the guy that you accused of murdering your mother. Like, yeah, that's gonna go great. Like, what do you think was gonna happen? I think she deserved a full punch, not just a slap.
I agree. Yeah, Gail's another pretty loved character as well, and I'm on record for saying I think Gail needs to be one of the first ones to die in Scream 7, which I know people disagree with also, but I think it's time for Gail to go.
I agree.
But I was trying when I was watching this movie, I was like, damn, why is Gail so beloved? Because she is a bitch in this movie. But she does kind of start to come around the second half of the film a little bit. The Gail Dewey thing is kind of what I was talking about when I was mentioning it. I have to remember that this is, try to remember this without Scream 3 or 4 or anything else coming, because the relationship still doesn't bug me here. I think it starts to bother me in the next one is when I start to get a little tired of the Dewey Gail situation, but it's still fine here for the most part, I guess. Yeah, and then we get Cotton, and we can tell he's wanting attention, which is, I guess, somewhat understandable to a degree. Although Cotton,
Cotton just wants some money, man. Like
yeah.
he really, that's what he wants. Like, just
Yeah.
give him his 15 minutes in the fucking spotlight here. Give him his potential book signing deal about his time in prison, wrongfully accused or whatever, and
Yeah.
give him some money, and then he'll just go away. He'll just shut the fuck up after that. Like.
Yeah, that's true. We cut to the sorority house then, and then we get to the CC kill, Sarah Michelle Gellar. I think this is a really good scene. I like the way this is done. I mean, I hate the fact that she does get killed here. One of the things that I noticed watching this movie this time that I don't think I've ever really quite noticed before. If I did, I just didn't think about it. Because at this point, if you've never seen this movie before, you don't know there are two killers again in this one. So we don't know who the killer is yet. But while she's on the phone with Ghostface, we also see Ghostface kind of sneak in the house behind her. So right off the bat, we know that there are two killers, at least two killers, with this part going on. And, she's got the phone conversations with Ghostface. And then we kind of get, I did have a brief moment. I fucking hate it every time it happens, but I had a brief scary movie moment. I've heard you and Sam talk about this before, where she's running up the stairs and he starts to go after her. And then I remembered the scene from Scary Movie, the stairs scene with Ghostface. And I'm like, fuck, why? I don't want to think about Scary Movie while I watch this movie, but it did happen to me for a minute there. Talk to me about the CC kill. I know we talked about it a little bit already, but your thoughts here.
No, I totally agree. I've had that moment a few times within the movie. I had it with Brenda in the theater in the opening sequence as well, and then I was waiting for a grand piano to be thrown down the stairs while Cece's getting chased away. So I understand. Yeah. It's really hard to separate those films. I didn't notice Ghostface sneaking in the back. I don't think it's been so long since I've seen this movie. So then when I was watching it on Friday, I was like, wow, I'm like, that's so cool. I don't remember that at all. Yeah. Also, me and Sam were talking. We're like, because like Cece is watching Nosferatu on the TV.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh yeah, because like I'm sure some 19, 20-year-old is going to be watching fucking Nosferatu on the TV. and then we're like, wait a minute, she's a film student. So
she was in the film class, yeah.
I'm like, okay, I guess maybe she is going to throw that on. Okay, that's smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good tense chase sequence. I kind of like what comes after. Maybe we'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, I think it's good. I think the only real note I wrote on it was watching Ghostface sneak in. I thought it was extremely clever.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it as well. That's why I wrote that down. And I'm assuming what you're talking about is, now that this kill happens, everybody from the sorority house party begins to come over there to see what's going on, which kind of leaves Sydney by herself. And then Sydney gets attacked by Ghostface. Dewey arrives. Derek also arrives. And, they kind of try to give us a little bit of the red herring stuff here with Derek because he does go in to try to help Sydney, and he gets cut, but not really injured severely. Dewey kind of even throws a little comment at him here and there. Is this what you were talking about when you were saying you like what comes next? Or was there something else?
So I was actually thinking about it. It's in the same sequence, but when the reporters are all in and Gail and Mrs. Loomis is there and they're talking and she's like, oh, this girl got stabbed so many times. I got such a big story to write. And then she like leaves.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, she's leaving to go try to get Sydney in the house. I'm like, yeah. Oh, I see. Okay, this is kind of working for me. I get it.
They do some clever things here. I like it as well. We get Gail kind of giving her theory that this killer, because they go back to the police station and they start recognizing the names and putting the name thing together. And so Gail figures out that this new killer is trying to kill people with the same names, duplicating what happened at Woodsboro. We get the cafeteria scene. I don't know what your thoughts are here on the cafeteria scene where Derek decides to imitate Top Gun and sing to Sydney. And then we get Randy giving his theory that the killer is patterning movies after a sequel. What are your thoughts on the cafeteria scene? Anything?
They needed that 2-hour runtime, man. They needed minimum 2 hours. We're 2 minutes short. We're gonna throw that in there.
Is that what you were talking about by one of the most wasted scenes in the movie when you mentioned?
Yes,
earlier?
absolutely.
Yeah, I figured it probably was.
I think the scene would have worked if it was like before the killings start happening. Do you know what I mean? Like,
okay,
if it was like at the start of the film before the cold open, and we see that her life has changed and she's happy and she's got a really caring boyfriend and a good solid core group of friends, I'm like, okay, that could work for me. But thrown into the middle of this movie where like 3 people have died and and it's just like, why, man? Why would you do that? And then he just gives her, like, I don't know anything. I'm not from the States, so I don't. Apparently we have sororities here. I don't know, but who cares if you give away your fucking letters? Fucking dumb.
It is kind of dumb. You know, I remember, of course, it was a long time ago when I was in high school. I graduated in 1990, but back when I was in high school, it was kind of a thing for we would get letter jackets. Like I lettered in
the Letterman jackets,
and we would let our girlfriend wear our Letterman jacket, and that was supposed to be a no-no. But we didn't have the results like what happens to Derek. I mean, it wasn't that bad. It was just you don't do it, and then everybody did it. It was like, oh yeah, you shouldn't do that. But I mean, that was the extent of it. It did never go any further. So I kind of remember that. I guess college a bigger deal, but it's. I don't hate the scene, but I don't think it really seems to fit the rest of the tone of the movie as well. Other than we get to kind of see more of Mickey being the film student as well, because as Derek starts singing, he's the one that points out that this is, Tom Cruise from Top Gun, that kind of thing. I'm just like, yeah, okay, but whatever. We're seeing they're all movie buffs, I guess, is all we're really seeing here.
Yeah, but who else? I don't think I would have known that. I haven't seen Top Gun in a very long time, mind you. It's been years. I don't think I've seen it since I was probably like 10 or 13. But
yeah, I haven't either. I don't remember that scene at all.
Nope, me neither. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it adds anything to the story. I don't think it shows Derek's commitment or feelings to her any better than any like a smaller scene could have done.
Right. Yeah,
so,
I agree with you there.
To me, it's just a wasted 2 minutes.
Yeah. The next scene where we cut to from here, this is a scene I've heard a few other people have some problems with. I don't think it really bothers me. Sydney's rehearsal, where, she's got this play thing going on, and then she starts to rehearse, and she sees Ghostface and kind of freaks out a little bit of it. To me, that maybe could have been cut from the film. We could have trimmed down the 2-hour runtime by getting rid of this, because I think other than we're seeing, Sydney actually sees Ghostface for the first time. I guess that is what makes it relevant. But I don't know. This scene just doesn't do a lot for me either. Are you any thoughts on it, or were you fine with it?
I actually like this sequence. I like it because it sets up the final set piece.
Okay.
With all the inner workings of what's going on in the background, the boulders, you got the lights, you got the dropping, the drop sets and stuff like that. So there's that good technical aspect of it where it's setting up the final set piece. But on top of that, it's showing how much this Ghostface coming back is really fucking with her psyche. Okay. Because she doesn't actually see Ghostface. She just, that's just PTSD kicking in, because all these masks are very Ghostface like. Some of them are really like long and thin.
That's what I had thought too, but I thought I noticed when I was just watching this again the other day, there's one point where right before she finally does freak out and they stop everything, and it looks like somebody that's in this mask that she's seeing, whether it's real or PTSD, it almost looks like they take off around a corner, like they're leaving, which then made me think, okay, maybe he really was there. So there's a scene there, and I hadn't noticed it before because I've always thought the same thing. It's just these masks are freaking her out. It's PTSD. But right before they stop doing all of this, and the teacher comes forward and all of that, there's a kind of like a little cut there where it looks like there is somebody in the ghost face mask, and they take off around a corner as everything's stopping, like they're trying to get away real quick. So, yeah, I don't know if you ever watch this again, look for that. See if you see
I'm
the
gonna
same thing.
I'm gonna watch it just for this scene.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up specifically.
yeah, I thought, which made me think then, okay, it is really happening. And you make some good points. I can see what you're saying about it setting up the ending and stuff like that. And again, it's not that I didn't like the scene. I just didn't think it did anything for me other than maybe Ghostface being there. But you make some good points here. So I can,
Yeah, I think it
that seems
also.
maybe that's better than I thought.
Yeah, even with the director and stuff like that, the character that she's playing is like a fighter who's like set to a tragedy, and
Right.
she gathers the strength. So there's like a lot of parallels between those characters as well.
Yeah.
So I think it works personally for me. I think it works a lot better than Top Gun.
Does definitely work better than Top Gun. I agree with you 100% there. We then get Ghostface calling Gale and Dewey and Randy while they're outside, kind of from the stuff we were talking about earlier. We get to see them starting to look for Ghostface. Randy gets pretty mouthy on the phone, and we get the Randy kill, which I absolutely love. Not just because I didn't like Randy, but I just thought it fits. I thought it's what they needed to do for this film, to take out one of those kind of characters, and I thought this was done really well. Yeah, your thoughts on Randy's kill in this scene where they're all looking for him? I think they try to add, it's a good mixture here because you're getting a little bit, I don't really want to say comedy. It's not so much that it's funny, but you're kind of getting, Dewey and Gale being crazy, trying to figure out which one of these people on the phone might be him, and then what happens with Randy. But yeah, your thoughts here.
Yeah, I think it's, this is, I don't know if it's my favorite chase sequence throughout the movie, or like, sequence in general, but it's a really, really well done one because it's almost like I'm not going to say like a running like a time clock kind of situation, but it's kind of similar to that, right? Like know that they know that Ghostface can see them, so they have to try to hit up everybody in the general vicinity with a cell phone. So they're trying to do that. Randy's trying to keep him on the phone, and it's really cool too because Randy gets pushed, and you've never really see Randy get pushed before. So like he gets pushed to the point of getting really mad, once he talks about losing the girl or whatever, and he's like, fuck you, then he like, that's him like all of a sudden like, okay, I'm upset. I'm going to start coming after you. And inadvertently, he doesn't know that it's Billy's mom who's actually pissing off. So when he dies, I always remember his death being a lot more gruesome too, which is kind of a downside. Because I think it's a pretty quick flash, and like Gale's reaction is so visceral that when you get the quick flash of it, it's fairly disappointing. But I and the broad daylight thing again in public, I think was a masterful way to actually take him out.
Right, and that's what I think I like about this one was the fact that it was done in broad daylight. Which you don't get a lot of in a lot of slasher films. So I really liked it. It is a very quick cut. I don't think it bothered me too much. And I'll tell you the exact reason why. I just recently watched, and I had a review come out, I think it came out today, for Happy Birthday to Me. Have you ever seen Happy Birthday to Me?
No, I haven't.
Way too many quick cuts in this movie. Every time somebody dies, it's just like, boom, really quick, and then it cuts away to something else. There's way too many quick cuts. So to have watched how those were, and then to see this in Scream where, it's still pretty quick, but you get a brief look at how sliced up he is. I'm like, okay, that's fine. You can do a quick cut that way because the Happy Birthday to Me was way too much and way too quick. So it didn't bother me, but I think it was because I had just watched that other film that did it almost every kill. So this one didn't bother me quite as bad. And then getting Gale's reaction where you finally really get to see her affected by what's happening. This is probably it's up there for my favorite scenes of the movie. I really like this scene. There's one other kill that I like maybe a little bit better, but I do think that this one's really good. We did cut to the library. We get some interaction between Cotton and Sidney. Cotton wanting, to do an interview with Diane Sawyer. We still kind of get this red herring too, though, because initially he's still trying to talk Sidney into this, but he's being somewhat fun about it and laughing and talking about it. And then when she says no, he gets pretty pissed and kind of starts to go off himself and causes, her security to come running up. We get some more interaction between Gale and Debbie. Gale's cameraman ends up quitting, which is kind of a funny scene when he decides to leave. But we start to get here that this is maybe where Gale is changing, in my opinion, where maybe she's becoming less interested in the story and career and really more interested in helping now. And then we get Gale and Dewey going to review these tapes, Ghostface attacking them. We get some cat and mouse between Ghostface and Gale. Dewey gets stabbed, and if you hadn't, seen this before, don't know what's coming, you think he might have died here. Talk to me about your thoughts on this scene, what's going on between Cotton and Sydney, and then Gale and Dewey in the theater with Ghostface attacking them.
Yeah, I think this is a good way to set up Cotton as a good red herring.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredibly well done, because then he goes and he's saying he's innocent, but he's being a real dick about it, like almost implying that he could be. He's like, right. Well, you ain't got nothing on me. I didn't kill those people. You ain't got nothing. Am I under arrest? He's just being that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Which makes sense that he would. I mean, I can see this all factoring into him being one of the killers, like we mentioned, like he was originally supposed to be. This kind of plays into that. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, and then the Gale and Dewey thing is good again. Like, their chemistry is really good in these movies, and of course they were. I don't know if they're married now.
I think they got married either during Scream 2 or maybe right after Scream 2, and I might be wrong, but I think that was the case.
Okay, yeah, because their chemistry is really strong. Just the way they look at each other and everything like that, you can see it's there. So yeah, it's kind of hard to deny any chemistry between the two of them, and the I don't know what you'd call it. The kind of, it's like a radio station thing that they go in or whatever. Like that's what
sound room, I guess, for the theater. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So I actually really like that sequence. I didn't really think about it until we were talking a little bit about cinematography and the kind of one shots. Like there's the sequence where her going around the soundproof walls.
Right.
And it's all one shot. And you can see Ghostface around the corner and stuff like that. That's excellent. That's incredibly well done.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that scene as well. I think it's really good. Again, one of another one of my favorite scenes in this movie. I really like the way it looks. I've thought that since the first time I saw this one. It's one of my favorite scenes for all of that. Did you think that Dewey really? I mean, I know obviously now that he didn't. Did you think after the close call in the first Scream, did you think maybe Dewey really died here the first time you saw this, or?
Yeah, I think the first time I caught these movies was on the Sci-Fi Channel, or I think it might have been Space back then when I first saw these some Friday night. Definitely during Halloween. I think they were doing the first trilogy back to back to back. So I think he probably did die. Back then, anyways.
Yeah, I saw this one in theaters, and I thought, well, they killed Dewey. They killed Randy and Dewey, is what I was thinking at the time. They didn't, but I thought they did.
Which I think would have been I don't know. I don't think that would have been a bad choice either, personally.
I agree.
At least it ups the stakes about like within the finale, right? Like I can't wait to talk about the third one just because of its rep. But at least this one had the balls to at least kill off one legacy character. But seeing Dewey roll down the fucking stairs after every movie is just like, give me a fucking break, man. Like,
it's a bit much.
There's no way. And I think they even try to justify it too. Something about, I remember the paramedic guy was like something about hitting scar tissue or something like that. It's like a real quick line of dialogue.
I think I remember that. Did you say that now? Yeah.
And I'm like,
no,
they
do say that.
He's not fucking surviving. like if he did, he's probably paralyzed, or he can't breathe. Like one lung's gone by now. Like he's lost 2 kidneys already. Like he's like spitting up blood all over the window. It's it's not like he stabbed him once. He got stabbed multiple times again. Like I don't know. I am happy with how he like goes out in the end. I think it's a lot better of a sequence than what this would have been, but it took a long time for them to fucking grow some balls.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, that's true. Yeah, the police then end up taking Sydney to a safe house. Her friend is going to go with her. Um, Derek's frat bros show up and get a hold of him for giving Sydney his letters. I want to talk briefly here for a moment about the officers though and their kills. I love the way the one looks. The first officer, I think he just gets like his throat slit and then eventually gets kicked out of the car. But the other officer that's hanging on the hood of the car while it's driving, and then that pipe goes through his head, and then you still like see his hand twitching, and I love that kill. I don't know about you. I just thought that looked really good.
Yeah, I think it's a good action set piece, really. Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest ones of the franchise, at least so far. I can't remember any other car chase sequence within one of these movies.
Yeah.
So I was actually fairly impressed, and I think it's a really good tension, well built like tension building scene, having to crawl over.
Yeah,
Ghostface.
Next point. There's a lot of tension there. I think this movie does a good job of still bringing the tension because there's some earlier in the film when you were talking about with Cece. I think there's some good tension back in the theater with Ghostface chasing Gale, and then here when Sydney's trying to crawl over. So while I don't find these movies scary, still this is probably the fourth or fifth time I've seen Scream 2. I still felt that tension in some of these scenes. Primarily this one, I think it was really well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I do think it's a little. I think the roommate's setup is pretty choreographed. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty set up from afar about what's going to happen. I think that's probably its only downfall.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
that goes back to that character. I just don't think, and like you said, you kind of forgot the roommate was even in it. Nothing bad towards the actress. I think she did fine with what they gave her, but I think maybe something that could have made this movie a little bit better was to make Sydney's roommate a little more of a big deal in the film. And hell, I don't know. I think I would have liked it if her roommate could have been Cece instead of this Howdy girl. That we would get more of Cece in the film or something. But because it's pretty obvious what's going to happen, and it's compared to some of the other things we've seen, it's really not even that great a kill.
No, exactly. And I feel like that's the issue with like the whole movie is like all her side character friends are there at the beginning, and then you get one quick scene with each of them to kind of set them up as like, oh, they're your friend. And then they're all forgotten about until they need to be brought back to either die or have a killer reveal.
Right.
Because at the end of the movie, you've forgotten that Mickey even existed.
Yeah, by then, absolutely. I agree.
He hasn't been on screen for probably half an hour.
Right.
And he just comes out of the blue. Like at least in the first film, everybody's a part of something. Like there's like the party is 45 minutes of every character being there, and Ghostface is still killing people in the same party. Like it's so tense. You don't know who's who. But in this one, it's like anybody can be, because we haven't seen anybody in half hour. Anybody could have been working around this whole thing. But nobody has any alibis or motives or anything.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
I'm with you 100%. We get some more interaction then between Gale and Cotton. Gale runs into Cotton and sees that he's got blood all over him, so she's thinking that Cotton is the killer now. Sydney ends up coming back to the campus theater, which confused me all this time until, again, as many times as I've seen this film, I just noticed it. Every time I've watched this movie, I wondered, why does she go there? But it seems like there's some music or something playing that she hears, and that's why she goes inside. And I've never noticed that before. Maybe because this is the first time that I watched this one on 4K, and I also had my sound bar going, so I heard the music more than what I had heard it in the past. And I'm like, oh, that's why she goes in the theater. But she goes in. She ends up finding, Derek's body there as he gets lowered, and we get our first Ghostface reveal with Mickey, who kind of tries to make it sound like Derek's his partner for a little bit, and then ends up shooting and killing Derek. Another, I don't know. I don't like this kill. It's just so uneventful with everything else, again, that we've been trying to do, and then he's just going to get shot in the chest while he's tied up. This kill kind of bums me out a little bit. I wish they could have done something different there. I do like Mickey here getting this reveal as Ghostface. I think Timothy Olyphant does a great job here. But I think he goes a little bit too far here in a few minutes. So we'll get to that in a moment. But I like that initially. What were your thoughts on this first reveal and Derek's death?
I like Mickey's reveal. I think it's mainly because I have like a a little tiny maybe crush on fucking Timothy Oliphant, like a little man crush on him.
All right.
I mean, dude's just gotten better over age too. He like reps that silver hair, no problem. You know, the silver fox look. But
Yeah.
I like it. You know, he's trying to pull out his inner Stu, basically, within this reveal. I also like that. I actually like the boyfriend kill
Okay.
because it's a good setup, because you're like, oh, of course they're gonna be playing off the first one. You know, the boyfriend's back. You know, he was wearing blue plaid. It kind of makes sense. And then I maybe they could have done it differently, or like maybe a little bit of a better way. But like the gunshot's just so quick, and like, yeah, okay, I lied to you. It's out of the way.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. And I agree with you. I think Mickey here is doing the Stu thing, and I think he does fine here. But once we get our second Ghostface reveal, where it's Debbie Salt, which turns out to be Mrs. Loomis, I do kind of think we get a little bit of humor here when Gail doesn't recognize Miss Loomis and Sydney, makes some comments there. It's kind of funny. But then when Miss Loomis comes in and she starts talking about everything, and Mickey goes another level with his inner Stu, and I didn't think that worked as well. I thought Timothy Oliphant was great in this film. I just didn't think the very end, before Miss Loomis ends up shooting him, I was like, okay, it's not as good because he's not Stu. Now, I really like Matthew Lillard, so maybe that was, I was just like, he's not Stu. That was fine that he kind of acted like Stu, but he got too crazy at the end. It was just my thought. I think you don't think so. I think you enjoyed it, but that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like Timothy Oliphant in this film. I really do. Yeah, I really do. I also really like his motive. Me and Sam kind of talked about this too. We'll go ahead with the motives. We both liked his motive.
His motive is good.
Blaming the movies, which is, of course, like so much of the 80s was like that, right? And probably a bit of the 90s with the increased video game violence, right? Which was gearing up there. Right. So I actually liked it. And for him to try to play that card, I was like, has it actually ever worked? Like, I had to think about it and be like, was there actually ever a murder trial where they did blame stuff? Like, of course, there are cases of that, and they very rarely ever work out. But I was like, maybe back in a different time, and have like as a setting where it's like geared towards like everybody, like the mothers, Mothers of America were just pissed about all these horror films because they're corrupting the minds of our children. Yeah, I was like, maybe that could have actually worked for something like that. So I was like, okay, I like that. The fact that Gail doesn't recognize Billy Loomis's mom is fucking wild.
It is wild. I agree.
Just because she lost 60 pounds or whatever, this was Gail's whole life for probably 2 years. Like, you gotta think, while writing the book, and it just blows my mind. I don't care about 60 pounds lost or not.
I'm with you. And she's around her so much, you would have think it would have clicked at some point. Yeah. So I get what you're saying.
Or like Dewey, like Sydney, like, are you telling me that they never cross paths on this campus at all with everything going on? Yeah. It's just nobody recognizes her. It's just fucking dumb.
I'm with you there a little bit. I agree with you though, with you and Sam both. I really like Mickey's motive, because when this movie came out in 1997, I was getting close to, it was the mid 90s, early 90s on into the late 90s that I was in the stretch of my life where I was involved in church and ministry. Towards the end of that time is when I really kind of started, because I had been a horror movie fan. Then when I got involved in church and became a minister, I was always told you shouldn't watch that kind of stuff. Don't stay away from those kind of movies. And I still would watch them sometimes, but I always did it like in secret. I never told anybody that I watched that kind of stuff because I knew everybody would be upset about me watching that kind of stuff. But I heard those kind of things all the time about how movies and music and things would influence kids and cause them to grow up to do certain things. I even remember, totally getting off here, and I'll try not to make this a big, long story, but the high school that I went to, the mascot was the Demons. We were the Duncan Demons. And churches were freaking out about that mascot constantly and doing petitions trying to get the mascot changed because we're calling our children demons and they're going to grow up evil because of this, and that kind of thing. So I lived through some of that. So for that to have been Mickey's motive, I loved it. I was like, yeah, this makes perfect sense, especially for this time frame. So yeah, I liked his motive as well. Um, and I do agree. It's crazy that Gale doesn't recognize Mrs. Loomis, but yeah, I just thought Sydney's comments were funny. Gale Lowe ends up shooting Mickey. You know, he's talking about the trial. She says there's not going to be a trial, and she ends up shooting Mickey. We then kind of get a battle between, well, Gale also gets shot, but I think it's Mickey that shoots Gale. He's just firing his gun while he's dying, and it hits Gale. We get some battle between Sydney and Mrs. Loomis before, you know, she finally is able to overcome her. And as she, Cotton shows up. There we go. That's what helps. Cotton shows up, and, you know, Mrs. Loomis is trying to persuade Cotton to be on her side. And then Cotton mentions the interview, and Sydney says done. So Cotton shoots Mrs. Loomis. We find out Gale's still alive. Mickey pops up one more time. Gale and Sydney both shoot Mickey, and then Sydney gives one more shot to Mrs. Loomis to make sure she's dead before we wrap up the film and find out that Dewey is alive. Gale takes off in the ambulance with him rather than shoot a news story like she did in the first film. Sydney tells the press to go interview Cotton, and then, you know, she walks off. Yeah, give me your thoughts on the finale, how this all plays out from Mrs. Loomis killing or trying to kill Mickey, Cotton showing up. Yeah, your thoughts on the finale for this film.
I think it's good. Like I said, like the whole play thing earlier in the film, it really pays off in this, because the nice thing about this is that Sydney knows this environment, not even knowing they thought this might have been a perfect environment to kind of lure her in and trap her in. Really, she's the one that knows this environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she uses it all to her advantage with the sandbags and the lights and thunder, you know, to disorientate her and kind of almost get the upper hand. Really, she doesn't quite get away with it, but I liked all that, and as well as Cotton Weary's, I like that too, because he does have that moment. That moment where he says that he never would have done it, but like, I don't know, man. You're pretty good at convincing the audience that you were really debating it in your head. There was a moral dilemma going on.
Yeah.
And as well for Gale surviving, I don't know. Again, like, she gets shot in the stomach, and then, you know, she's walking at the end of the movie, like, no problem. She's like, no surgery needed or anything like that. No stitches. It's it's just a bullet wound. Just put a little, like a little Band-Aid on it. And I'm going to go ride with Dewey, because, he got stabbed 8 times, but he's still alive. And then, then we get that
bothering you.
Yeah, it tends to. And I can't remember what they do with Dewey and Gale in the next movie. But I'm very curious to see how it plays out, because I haven't seen that movie in so long. Out of all the movies I've seen, it's probably my least watch.
It's Gale, I'll tell you this much. Gale does not look as good in 3 as she looks in 1 and 2. I do remember that. She's got some fucked up hair in 3.
Yeah, the bangs. That's easily the most memorable part, as well as Jay and Silent Bob's cameo.
Yeah.
Which was wild beyond belief.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty decent finale. I kind of wish, I guess the first movie ends pretty quickly too, right? Like, there's no epilogue or anything like that. So these movies, do you feel like they just kind of end?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's not like that end stinger for any of them.
Right.
Which I kind of would have liked, especially for maybe this one, because I feel like she's just walking and normal, and it's like, oh yeah, Cotton's the hero, which she gives him, the light or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she kind of walks out into the field or whatever, and then the camera just kind of backtracks and like from afar, and it's like the end.
I don't think I mind that part too much for this film, because I think the thing here for me on the end of this one is it's very similar to the first one. I think the point for me, more than Sydney giving Cotton what he wanted, was Gale's switch, because at the end of the first film, as the credits begin to roll and the music starts to play, Gale's in front of the camera and getting ready to give her story, and that's how the first one ends. It backs off with her now doing her report on everything that just happened, whereas in this one, she gets that opportunity. Joel shows back up and he's got the camera and he's wanting to record, and she opts to go with Dewey rather than do that. And so for Scream 2, I wasn't annoyed yet by the Dewey Gale relationship. Gale being okay after the gunshot, yeah, okay, whatever. But I like the fact that we got that change in her character. And that's really what stood out more to me in this ending was the first film, she's in front of the camera. The second film, she's not. And so I think I like this ending just because of that. Would it have been nice to have something else? Yeah, maybe. But I was okay with this ending, just with a little Gale arc. Although it doesn't last for Gale if you watch the rest of the franchise.
That's a good parallel. I didn't really even think about that. So that's a good parallel. I like that.
Yeah. Anything else you want to mention about Scream 2?
Joel, the smartest character in this whole movie.
I completely agree. Yes.
Totally forgot about him because he's one of those side characters that disappears for the whole movie, but and rightfully so.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did make a note saying that he's the smartest person in this movie because he read the book. He saw that the last camera guy died. He said, "Fuck this. I'm out until I know the killer's dead, and then I'll be back."
And then that's
smartest
what happens.
Character.
Yeah. He's good. Yeah. No, that's funny. All right. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rank Scream 2?
So me out of 10, Scream 2, I still really enjoyed the movie. I still really enjoyed the watch. It's definitely not a 9.5 or a 9 or a 10. Because I do think that it has some issues with the movie still overall, but like I still think it's a really solid movie. I'm actually going to give this movie an 8 out of 10.
Okay. You said you got Sam's score?
I have Sam's score out of 5.
Okay.
So she gave it a 3 out of 5.
Okay. Not bad then. I'm actually right there with you. I gave the first one a 10. I still really enjoyed this movie. Now, I've also said this is the only franchise, and I'm still going to stick by it, I think. I need to watch the next one to make sure that I feel that way. But this is the only franchise that doesn't have a bad movie, in my opinion. There are some that are not as good as others, but there's still not a terrible movie in this franchise, in my opinion. I still really like this one. I don't like it as well as the original. There are a couple of things here and there, and we talked about them, that bother me somewhat. But overall, I still had a lot of fun with this. I also gave it an 8 out of 10. So I'm right there with you on Scream 2. I'll give it an 8. I feel like the next one is the closest. Now, I'll have to rewatch it. It's been a while since I've seen Scream 3. I remember seeing it in theaters when it first came out. I've probably watched it once since. I haven't watched it anywhere near as much as I've watched the other ones. But I feel like it might be my least favorite in the franchise. And I still don't think it's terrible. I think I just have more issues with it. But yeah, I'll watch it again and we'll get into that. So, and we'll get into it soon, actually, because you're going to be back next week to talk about Scream 3 and to talk about Candyman. So yeah, people are going to be seeing a lot of you on my channel here coming up.
Oh yeah. Hopefully they enjoy it because yeah, I'm back all month basically.
Yeah, we got Scream 3, we got Candyman, we've got the awards thing coming up. We got Scream 4 coming up.
Scream 5. I think we booked up Scream 5 too, right?
I think we did book up to Scream 5, and I'm going to try to get in, if at all possible, Scream 6 before the new one comes out, and then you and Bo are going to come on, and we're going to talk Superman. So,
yes.
Yeah, I might as well say that for the next month or so, Brendan's basically the co-host here of Sean's Horror Corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be on a lot, but
that's okay. Robbie and Kaylee were on like all December, so it's about time I got mine on.
I know. It's so funny. Rob cracks me up, and he always does this to me. It doesn't matter how much they're on, because I do feel like I had them on a lot in December. I originally only had them on. They were only scheduled to be on twice, and then somebody else was supposed to be on and couldn't make it. And I knew you guys had something else going on, and I reached out to them and I was like, hey, I know it's short notice, but do y'all want to come on with me? Because somebody else isn't going to be able to be there. And they're like, yeah, sure. And so they popped up a lot. And even though he was on like for almost an entire month, then he's like, you like Brendan and Sam better than us, don't you? And I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing right now? So yeah, he's going to see you all over my channel for the next month. And he's like, I knew it. I knew Sean liked Brendan better. So yeah, I'm going to hear about this, but that's all right.
You'll get over it. We started first, okay?
Like, that's right. I mean, I've always said you and Sam are the reason I started doing a channel in the first place. So y'all are the ones that gave me the courage to even start this thing. So yeah, I owe y'all a lot. So yeah, Brendan, this has been fun. Thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about the next one.
Oh, same. Me too, man. It's always a blast. I have such a great time while I'm on.
Yeah. So do you want to go ahead and take another minute to promote what you guys might have coming up before we get off here?
Yeah, of course. So, Our Life in Horror, you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, X for a month or so. And then Sam and I are also both on Letterboxd. I am sticking to this year. I will be reviewing, logging, sticking to it. I'm crunching down. I'm doing it no matter what. So I will be on Letterboxd. But as for episodes we got coming out, Wednesday, the day that this is released, we are doing a live on Sam's non-horror movie collection. And then we will be having a Primate review. And then I think the following Monday, me and Bo are going to be doing our a physical media live stream about 10 movies that we would like to see come out to physical media this year, which I'm pretty excited. I'm excited to see what his list is.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's all I got for like that week that I can remember. So yeah, a bunch of fun stuff. We got a mixture of stuff coming up, a little bit of physical media coming up.
Very cool. Yeah, definitely go. I mean, I've said this before. I feel like anybody that knows my channel definitely already knows the two of you. But if I have caught a rare person here and there that don't, go check out Our Life in Horror. Still my favorite channel out there. Like I said, Brendan and Sam are the reason I even started doing this in the first place. And so later this week, I'll finally have I've been talking about it for a while. I have an episode coming out on Friday on Popeye the Slayer Man. And then next week, Isaiah is on to talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Brendan's back to talk about Scream 3 and Candyman Farewell to the Flesh. So yeah, be sure and subscribe if you haven't done so you don't miss anything. I'm pretty much on every social media thing there is out there. Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, X. I have a Letterboxd as well. I sometimes forget to use it, but I'm trying to get better about that also. So yeah, check it out. And yeah, I guess that wraps this up. So thank you everybody so much for watching. I will be back in a couple of days to talk Popeye. See you soon.
Bye.